Shalom, I'm Rabbi Eliyahu, and today I'm going to teach you the ancient Jewish prayer that has helped my clients attract more wealth in 90 days than they made in the previous 5 years, but only when they say it correctly. Most people get it completely wrong, and that's why their prayers never manifest into money. By the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden consciousness technology behind this prayer and exactly how to use it. Let me destroy a lie that's keeping you broke. You think prayer is about begging God for money. You wake up, you pray, you ask God to please send you abundance, please help you pay your bills, please make your business succeed, and nothing happens. Month after month, year after year, the same financial struggles. Here's what nobody told you. When you pray like that, you're actually pushing money away from you. You're declaring yourself as separate from abundance. You're positioning yourself as lacking, as empty, as someone who needs to receive from outside yourself. And in doing that, you create the very consciousness that repels wealth. The Torah doesn't teach us to beg. The Talmud doesn't instruct us to plead. In fact, in Jewish mystical tradition, prayer is something entirely different. The Hebrew word for prayer is tefillah, which comes from the root word meaning to attach or to connect, not to ask. Not to beg, to connect. I had a client named David who came to me 3 years ago. He was saying prayers every morning about his financial situation. He had a struggling consulting business, making maybe $35,000 a year, working 70 hours a week. He would pray, God, please send me clients. Please help me make more money. Please give me a breakthrough. And you know what happened? Nothing. For 3 years, David prayed the same prayers and his income stayed exactly the same. He came to me frustrated, almost ready to give up on prayer entirely. He said, Rabbi, I pray every day. Why isn't God answering me? And I told him what I'm about to tell you. God doesn't respond to begging. God responds to alignment. There is a specific prayer in Jewish tradition that has been used for millennia to align with divine wealth. It's called the Modeh Ani, which translates to I give thanks. This is the very first prayer observant Jews say every single morning, before their feet even touch the ground. Here's the full prayer in English. I give thanks before you, living and eternal King, for you have mercifully restored my soul within me. Your faithfulness is great. Now, most people who know this prayer think it's just about gratitude for waking up. And yes, it is that. But in the Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah, there's a deeper teaching about this prayer that completely transforms how you understand wealth. The Zohar explains that when you wake up in the morning, your soul, your neshama, returns to your body from the divine realm. Every night when you sleep, your consciousness ascends to connect with the infinite source. And every morning it returns, bringing with it divine energy, divine potential, divine abundance. But here's the key that changes everything. Most people wake up and immediately their mind goes to worry. They think about their bills. They think about their problems. They think about what they lack. And in that moment, they reject the divine abundance that their soul just brought back to them. The Modeh Ani prayer is a spiritual technology for capturing and anchoring that divine energy into your physical reality. When you say, I give thanks, you're not begging for something you don't have. You're acknowledging something you've already been given. You're declaring that you are connected to an infinite source that has already restored everything you need within you. Let me break this down word by word because this is where the power lies. Modeh means I give thanks or I acknowledge. But in Hebrew, words carry frequencies, not just meanings. The root of Modeh is related to the concept of admission, of declaring something as true. When you say Modeh, you're not hoping abundance will come. You're admitting it's already here. You're declaring yourself as already connected to the source. Ani means I am. These are two of the most powerful words in any language. In the Torah, when Moses asks God what his name is, God responds, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I am that I am. The I am is the divine creative force. When you say Ani, you're invoking your own divine nature, your own creative power as an image of God. Lefanecha means before you. This establishes the connection, the relationship. You're positioning yourself in the presence of the infinite, not separate from it, begging from a distance, but standing before it, connected to it. Melech Chai Vikayam means living and eternal king. This is crucial. You're not praying to a distant God who might or might not answer. You're connecting to a living, present, eternal force that is actively sustaining your existence right now. The wealth you're seeking to attract isn't somewhere out there. It's flowing from the same source that's keeping you alive in this very moment. I know this might sound abstract, so let me make it concrete with a story. I had a client named Sarah who owned a small jewelry business. She was barely breaking even, constantly stressed about inventory costs, worried about rent for her store. She was praying every morning, but her prayers sounded like this: God, please send me customers. Please help me sell more. Please don't let my business fail. Every single prayer was rooted in fear and lack. I taught her the Modéani prayer and explained the consciousness principle behind it. I told her, Sarah, when you wake up tomorrow morning, before your feet touch the ground, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, I want you to say this prayer, but I want you to understand what you're really doing. You're not asking for abundance. You're acknowledging that your soul has just returned from the divine realm carrying infinite potential. You're declaring that you are already connected to the source of all wealth. She looked at me skeptically. She said, Rabbi, that's it? Just say a prayer and my business will magically get better. And I told her, no, the prayer doesn't magically fix anything. The prayer shifts your consciousness. And when your consciousness shifts, your actions shift. When your actions shift, your results shift. I gave her 3 additional practices to pair with the prayer. First, immediately after saying the Modeh Ani, she had to spend 2 minutes visualizing her business thriving, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of gratitude, as if it had already happened. Second, she had to write down 3 things she was grateful for in her business before looking at her sales numbers. Third, throughout the day, whenever she felt fear or worry creeping in, she had to pause and reconnect to the consciousness of, my soul has been restored within me. The first week, Sarah told me nothing changed. Same sales, same stress. But she noticed something subtle. She felt calmer. She was making decisions from a clearer place rather than from panic. By week 3, something shifted. A customer who had bought a small item came back and placed a large custom order for her daughter's wedding. Sarah told me she almost turned it down because she was afraid she couldn't deliver, but then she remembered, your faithfulness is great. She took the order. She delivered it beautifully. That customer referred 3 more clients. Within 6 months, Sarah's revenue had increased by 140%. She moved to a larger location. She hired 2 employees. And here's what she told me that I'll never forget. Rabbi, the prayer didn't magically bring me customers. It changed how I saw myself. I stopped operating from fear and scarcity. I started operating from the consciousness that I am connected to an infinite source. And from that place I made completely different decisions. Same person, different consciousness, different reality. Now let me tell you the mistake that almost everyone makes with this prayer, even people who say it every day. They say the words, but their consciousness is still in lack. They say, I give thanks, but in their mind they're thinking, I give thanks, but I'm still broke. I give thanks, but my business is still failing. I give thanks, but I still need a miracle. That but cancels everything. It negates the entire prayer. Because prayer is not about the words you speak. Prayer is about the consciousness you embody while speaking those words. In the Talmud, there's a teaching that says, the gates of prayer are sometimes open and sometimes closed, but the gates of tears are never closed. Do you know what that means? It means that words alone don't penetrate the divine realm. But genuine consciousness, genuine emotion, genuine alignment, that always connects. When you say the Modeh Ani prayer correctly, you're not just reciting words. You're entering a state of consciousness where you genuinely feel connected to infinite abundance. You feel gratitude not for what you hope to receive, but for what has already been given to you: life, breath, consciousness, potential, creativity, divine energy. Let me give you the framework I teach my clients for saying this prayer in a way that actually transforms your financial reality. Step 1. Create the right environment. Say this prayer before you do anything else. Before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you engage with the world. Your consciousness in the first few minutes after waking is still connected to the divine realm. That's your window of maximum receptivity. Step 2. Say the prayer slowly, word by word, feeling the meaning. Don't rush through it. When you say Mode Ani, I give thanks, actually feel gratitude. When you say Melech Chaiv Kayam, living and eternal king, actually feel the presence of that infinite force. You're not performing a ritual. You're establishing a connection. Step 3. After saying the prayer, sit for 2 minutes in visualization. Picture yourself living in the financial reality you desire, but picture it from the consciousness of gratitude, not desperation. Don't visualize it as something you're trying to get. Visualize it as something you're grateful has already been given to you. See yourself managing your wealth wisely, giving generously, living in abundance. Step 4. Declare 3 specific things you're grateful for financially. Even if your bank account is at 0, find 3 things. I'm grateful I have the skills to create value. I'm grateful I have the consciousness to understand these principles. I'm grateful I'm connected to an infinite source that doesn't run out. Gratitude creates the vessel for more. Step 5. Throughout the day, whenever fear or scarcity thinking arises, pause and reconnect to the consciousness of the prayer. Remind yourself, my soul has been restored within me. I am connected to infinite abundance. I am not begging for wealth. I am accessing what is already mine. This is not a magic spell. This is spiritual technology. And like any technology, it works when you use it correctly. I want to share one more story before I give you your action steps. I had a client named Benjamin who was $73,000 in debt. Credit cards, business loans, medical bills. He felt completely hopeless. He came to me and said, Rabbi, I need a miracle. Can this prayer get me out of debt? And I told him the truth. Benjamin, this prayer won't make your debt disappear overnight, but it will transform your consciousness. And when your consciousness transforms, you'll find solutions you couldn't see before. You'll make decisions you weren't capable of making before. You'll attract opportunities that weren't available to you before. I gave him the 5-step framework and added one more element, a 30-day financial gratitude journal. Every day, after saying the Mode Ani prayer, he had to write down one financial blessing he received that day, no matter how small. A free coffee, a discount at the store, a client payment that came through, anything that represented money flowing toward him rather than away from him. The first week was brutal for him. He struggled to find anything to be grateful for financially. But by week 2, something started shifting. He noticed opportunities he had been blind to before. A friend mentioned a side consulting gig. He saw an ad for a debt consolidation program that cut his interest rate in half. He had an idea for a new service offering that he'd never considered before. By the end of 30 days, Benjamin's debt hadn't disappeared, but it had decreased by $12,000, and he had a clear plan to be debt-free within 18 months. More importantly, his entire relationship with money had transformed. He stopped seeing himself as a victim of his financial circumstances and started seeing himself as a creator of his financial reality. And here's what he told me. Rabbi, the prayer gave me something more valuable than money. It gave me back my power. It reminded me that I'm not separate from the source of abundance. I'm connected to it. And from that consciousness, everything became possible. I know what some of you are thinking right now. This sounds too simple. Just say a prayer every morning and suddenly money appears. That doesn't make sense. And you're right to be skeptical. Let me be very clear. This is not about magic. This is not about bypassing the work. This is not about saying some Hebrew words and expecting your bank account to fill up while you sit on your couch. Here's what this really is. The Mode Ani prayer is a tool for shifting your consciousness from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith, from begging to accessing. And when your consciousness shifts, your perception shifts. When your perception shifts, your decisions shift. When your decisions shift, your actions shift. When your actions shift, your results shift. The Torah is very clear about this. In Deuteronomy it says, I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life. You have to choose. You have to act. You have to align yourself with the consciousness of abundance rather than the consciousness of lack. The prayer creates the alignment, but you still have to do the work. You still have to take the actions. You still have to make wise financial decisions. Another doubt you might have, Rabbi, I'm not Jewish. Can this prayer work for me? And here's my answer. The principles behind this prayer are universal. Yes, the words are Hebrew. Yes, the tradition is Jewish. But the consciousness, technology, gratitude, connection to infinite source, recognizing your divine nature, these principles transcend any single religion. If you want to say the prayer in Hebrew to connect to 3,000 years of consciousness that have been poured into these words, do that. If you want to adapt the prayer into your own language and your own tradition while keeping the same consciousness principles, do that. What matters is not the specific words. What matters is the consciousness you embody. God is not checking whether you pronounce the Hebrew correctly. God is responding to your frequency, your alignment, your genuine connection to the infinite source. Let me recap the key principle that will change your financial life. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is connection. When you say the Modeh Ani prayer correctly, with the consciousness of gratitude, with the awareness that your soul has been restored within you carrying infinite potential, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance. And from that alignment, wealth flows naturally. Here's exactly what I want you to do starting tomorrow morning. Action step 1. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier than usual. This gives you time to do the prayer and the consciousness work without rushing. When you wake up, before your feet touch the ground, say the Modeh Ani prayer slowly. I give thanks before you, living and eternal King, for you have mercifully restored my soul within me. Your faithfulness is great. Feel every word. Connect to the meaning. Action step 2. Immediately after the prayer, spend 2 minutes visualizing your ideal financial reality from the consciousness of gratitude. See it. Feel it. Give thanks for it as if it's already real. Then write down 3 financial blessings you're grateful for, even if they seem small. Action step 3. Throughout the day, whenever you feel fear or scarcity creeping in, pause for 30 seconds and reconnect. Place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself, my soul has been restored within me. I am connected to infinite abundance. This is your reset button. Now, I want you to do something for me in the comments. Tell me, what financial transformation are you committed to creating in the next 30 days? Not what you hope happens, what you're committed to. When you declare it publicly, you activate a different level of accountability and intention. And here's your challenge. Commit to saying this prayer every morning for 30 days without missing a single day. This is not a casual experiment. This is a consciousness transformation protocol. If you're serious about transforming your financial reality, you'll do this. If you're not serious, you'll make excuses. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because next week I'm revealing the ancient Jewish practice of tzedakah, righteous giving, and why giving away money is actually the fastest way to attract more of it. This goes against everything conventional financial advice teaches, but it's one of the most powerful wealth-building secrets in Jewish tradition. May you wake each morning with the consciousness of divine restoration. May you recognize yourself as connected to infinite abundance. May you act from faith rather than fear, from gratitude rather than lack. May wealth flow to you effortlessly as you align yourself with the source of all prosperity. Shalom.